Depression tells me I'm making choices based on other people's experiences and information. Anxiety tells me I'm nervous and I don't feel confident in the decisions I'm making and something feels off. So that's not necessarily bad. It's just a chance to get more information. It's a warning. Something's off here. We need to ask some hard questions. We need to hold somebody accountable, or I need to get more experience and I need to practice because I'm not feeling super confident in the direction that I'm leading. So the more information I get, whether it be asking hard questions and getting real answers, and acknowledging that this person does not have my best interest or does not have the answers and is not speaking from experience but more of an opinion. This is learning that I'm anxious because I've said yes when I really mean no. And I feel like these two are often tied together because when I'm trying to create a life that is for myself, but I was based in someone else's opinion and belief system on how I should live my life and based on what their knowledge is or lack of, making a transition involves this depression and anxiety because it guides you onto what is really for you and what's for not. So like if you still are not completely in your direction for your heart purpose, you'll feel it because you're going to be doing things where it feels like this is not fair. This is not completely where I want to be. This is not how I want to live my life. There's still something hung up here. And anxiety says, take a look. Take a look. Something's you're either moving too fast and you're trying to jump. You're trying to jump ahead without taking the steps in between. So anxiety says I'm moving too fast, too forward. It's impulsive, right? And depression is I'm not doing anything. I'm moving way too slow. So you need something in the middle. Because I think you may have been raised in a very hot, cold climate where it's like back and forth. People were very in and out with you. You know, you either had a very explosive parent and then they'd be on the other side of things where all of a sudden they're warm and cuddly. And it was very conflicting and confusing for you as a child. And so now it's hard for you to regulate your system and your steps in life. So because of their imbalance, there's a good chance that you didn't receive guidance that you needed as a child to regulate yourself, how to recognize, is this for me or is this not? You didn't get the chance to create any sort of self-confidence because it feels like they were either micromanaging you and in 1 minute and on the other minute they were nowhere to be found and they didn't have any answers. So it's like they're either trying to puppet you through life, or like when you try to do things on your own, it's like, okay, then don't listen to me. And it's like, well, no, I would like to try something based on my interests and my creativity and my curiosity. And while I could use some support, I don't know what this looks like, but that's not what you received. You say, well, I wouldn't do that. We didn't do it like that. That's not how you're supposed to do that. But they don't have experience. They're just living off of someone else's book and Bible. This is like applying someone else's information from decades ago and expecting for it to hit currently. I mean, look at where the information came from decades ago regarding health, regarding spiritual belief systems. A lot of these have come from somebody in a survival mindset in order to control others because that's what they did. Now, here's the thing. The control that they're using is of the mind. They don't actually have to put their hands on you. That's the win for them. They get to control you, but there's no evidence of it. There's no I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And so that's the thing, is like part of this confusion when you're in it and when you're learning, whether it be for yourself or you're learning to do something for yourself, there are people that are around you that don't want you to get out of their control because they've tied some sort of security to you, whether it be like your work ethic, your kindness, your soft warmth, a way that you handle life even when you're living in fight, flight, or freeze. There's something about you that they've been gaining from you. They saw it in the beginning, and so you have to be aware. These people are going to play these games. They're going to give you soft energy to bring you back in just to treat you cruelly and harsh again. So be aware of that. That's where the confusion comes. And the sooner you can get clarity between the two, and get to that middle ground where you allow yourself to grow, you allow yourself to make a mess, you give yourself permission to grieve that pain, and instead of carrying it forward, you leave it in the past. And you do that by learning something new, giving yourself a chance to learn, and finding teachers that are kind and creative with you instead of trying to control you. It's challenging, and sometimes you actually have to become that teacher for the student. And while some people will say the teacher appears when the student is ready, I believe both of those are within you. And when you allow yourself to rely on what your intuition is telling you, and you've been telling yourself this for a long time. You've been telling this self to you a long time. You just have to give yourself permission to follow you, follow your heart, follow the direction that it's calling you in, and not to the trauma of the past, but through the independence moving forward, where you get to create what you want to create because you know this is meant for you. And it's going to be challenging because there's a lot of facades that have been placed in society to keep people stuck and controlled. But I know you can do it. You just have to keep continuing what your heart is telling you. And even I've experienced, there are times where I'm like, I thought my heart was leading to these people. I learned so much in those experiences. So sometimes we do have to go back before we can move forward. And so I want you to forgive yourself when you've done those times, when you've experienced that, when you've done that to yourself. And it was part of the lesson. And the lesson is learning what the blessing is. And it wasn't in these people that were trying to control you. It's in the independence that you're going to create moving forward. It's that life that you're going to live that they never wanted for you. And it's because they didn't know how to create it for themselves and they weren't willing to do the work. But I see it in you. I can sense it. You're here for a reason. You're here to walk that path. You just have to allow yourself to do it. I hope this helps. Take care.